I seem to be rewriting homilies a lot these days. You know, normally I start at the beginning of the week, and by pretty much Thursday, I know what my weekend homily looks like. And I haven't put the final words together, but I pretty much know where it's going. And those of you who come to Daily Mass know that I was on the road this week. I flew out to New York and was there for a meeting that didn't take place. On Friday, they called me and canceled it. Yeah, made for fun, you know. What was I going to do with a $1,000 ticket that I had already spent, you know, to get this ticket, you know, to get this thing going? But I was also planning on having lunch with my brother, and so it turned out to be a good amount of time with my brother. And that was really good, because it's in the light of that that I rewrote my homily. I had written it on the flight out there, kind of sketched out where I was going. But then after some time with Dave, I said, no. As you listen to the words of today's Holy Gospel, when you have a person who has been caught in sin, caught red-handed, and the law says she dies, and Jesus ignores it. Jesus broke the law, ignored the law, in order to forgive and show compassion. Dave and I spent time thinking about the fact that we're not such a perfect family. We've made a lot of mistakes. We've needed to ask each other for forgiveness, and we've needed to offer it to each other. And I was thinking about how, you know, we said that during this Lenten season we're going to look at the corporal and spiritual works of mercy and how they strengthen our family, how our practice of those strengthen our family. And I wasn't going to give you a test to see how well you've been doing, but I think we all need to give ourselves that test. We all need to ask ourselves, do we just come to church and the words, yeah, okay, that was nice, yeah, okay, and we leave and go home and go about our business? Or have we opened our hearts to allow mercy to reign in our lives? Have we allowed God to forgive us, to be merciful to us, so that we in turn can reflect it back to others? We can go out, you know, do the corporal works. Oh yeah, we can go to the hospital. You know, you're sick. That was very nice. You know, we'll go in, or I can go in as a priest and anoint or hear confessions. And a number of you bring communion to people that are ill, and it's just a job. You just go do it. But if we visit the sick, because it's an expression of the compassion of our God, whether that sick person is in community hospital over Monterey, in Salinas Valley, in Natividad, or in our home, do we visit them as a reflection of the compassion that our God has shown to us? In thinking about the homily, I was thinking about the fact that the past 2 weeks, both Deacon Bill and I have talked about one spiritual work in particular: forgive all injuries. And both Bill and I focused on the need for families to forgive each other. It's good that we forgive other people, and it's good that we do all those things. Do we do it in our homes in very real, practical ways? The sacrament of reconciliation means nothing, if we have not first experienced it in our homes. Yes, I know, theologically, you know, sacrament has its own value, and it does all of those expressions of mercy, but we're not going to go if we don't believe that forgiveness exists. If we haven't first experienced our own need to be forgiven, and then in turn shared forgiveness with somebody else. I think I've shared with you before that at one point early on in my religious life, I was going to confession on a regular basis, and I remember saying to the confessor, an old Irish priest, I said, Father, I keep on confessing the same thing. And he looked at me in a very thick Irish accent and said very clearly, because God is preparing you to be a good confessor. Because until you've learned to know what it means to need to be forgiven, you can never help somebody else experience forgiveness. I took that as permission to go out and sin a lot, but, you know, yeah, I'm doing my field research. Yeah. But if all of us, in our righteousness, if in our own self-righteousness, feel, I'm good, you know, why can't everybody else just be as good as me? Life would be a whole lot easier. And haven't we all thought that at one point or another? If we're convinced, like the Pharisees, of our own self-righteousness, then we'll pick up the stone and throw it. We'll be the first to cast the stone. But if we're all convinced of our own need for mercy and the ways that God has been merciful in our own lives, then we won't even make the accusation, because we know that she's just one of us. Our sin may not be the same, but it's just as real. That you and I, in these remaining days of Advent, only a week and a half left, Lent, in these remaining days of Lent, a week and a half left, that's it, 10 days. Yeah. If we haven't started to practice mercy yet, get going. That you and I may be examples of God's compassion in our home and in our own hearts, so that together we can celebrate the resurrection in our homes, in our hearts, and in our faith.